Hello and welcome to this video about expanding the capabilities of the VMX88 matrix processor. We will investigate the signal processing of a VMX88, the network audio sections of the unit, and how we can leverage this across two units to create a bigger matrix with all analog inputs available to both units. So, let's begin with a quick look at the signal processing a VMX88 can provide. Starting at the input, the following processing modules are available. A fully featured compressor with control of envelope, ratio and knee. A gain control with up to 15 dB of boost, which may be used as makeup gain. A polarity, phase reverse switch, and up to 1.3 seconds of delay. A full spectrum variable high pass filter with selectable roll-off and type, up to 24 dB per octave. 8 bands of parametric EQ, with multiple filter types, including PEQ, high and low shelving, high and low pass, phase, and all pass. 2 bands of dynamic EQ which can operate in boost or cut modes, and with a parametric or shelving response, and lastly, a channel mute. We have 8 analog input channels that all have this input processing available. Next we have an 8x8 matrix that can mix any analog input to any analog output channel. Output channel processing makeup is slightly different. Each output channel has available output gain, polarity, phase reverse switch, with an additional 1.3 seconds of delay. Crossover filters, that is, high and low pass filters with a selection of types and roll-offs, this time up to 48 dB per octave. A full 16 bands of parametric EQ, with all the features of the input EQ. 2-stage look-ahead limiters. So, RMS limiting for power output control to reduce voice coil overheating, plus, peak limiting for speaker excursion control to mitigate against mechanical damage. And finally, an output mute. So now we have 3 distinct parts to a VMX88 system. 8 analog input channels with processing, an 8x8 analog mix matrix, and 8 analog output channels with processing. But that's not all. We've not mentioned the network audio capabilities yet. A VMX88 can also accept 8 channels of network audio, and pass these through a separate, 8x8 matrix to be mixed into the analog outputs. It can also simultaneously feed 8 channels of audio onto the network, and this is key to our endgame, of creating a bigger matrix using a second VMX88. There are 3 points along the signal path that can be chosen as the output for each channel. These correspond to the outputs of each section of channel processing within the unit. Namely, the end of the input processing, the end of the matrix processing, and the end of the output processing. If we consider 2 VMX88s together, we can send all the inputs of each unit back out onto the network, and set up the other unit to pick up these inputs, so enabling each unit to use the input sources of the other and create a 16x16 matrix. Let's see how we go about achieving this. First, let's get a couple of things checked out in the real world, so we can proceed with the setup. Make sure there's a network connection from the comms, Ethernet port and the primary, Dante Ethernet port back to your switch or router, on both units. Next, make sure you have Dante controller and DNet installed on the computer, and that both applications are able to connect and see both units. Assuming all this is in place, we can proceed with the configuration. Let's start with naming all the inputs and outputs for the analog channels on the system. Now, we will add these names to the 2 interfaces that appear in Dante controller. Remember, that the names should now reflect the channels as they appear in Dante controller, so the analog inputs, which are being sent to the network, are now outputs. Double-click on a unit's name in Dante controller, then on the Receive Channels tab. The unit's network inputs can be renamed to something more friendly. These names are automatically updated in DNet as well, on the Network Matrix tab, along the left-hand side. As we are creating a 16x16 matrix, we know that these inputs will be the output names from the other unit. Next, select the Transmit Channels tab, and use the names that are the analog inputs names on this unit. These names are also updated in DNet, on the unit's Network Out tab. While we are on this in DNet, note that on the Network Out tab, we get to choose the point on the signal path that's used for each channel, and also to remap the channel's actual stream. Unless there's a good reason to change these settings, the default is to send audio from the end of the input's processing, and stream network output 1 from input 1, and so on. We would also suggest renaming the VMX interfaces in Dante controller to match those in DNet. This name is not automatically reflected across, so select the Device Config tab in Dante controller and double-click on the name to change it. A warning will appear, explaining that changing the device name will break all routing. This is fine, as we have not started routing the units to each other yet. This is why we perform naming first, and routing afterwards. You can double-check which unit is which, by using the Identify button, which works the same as in DNet. We are now ready to set up the network connections that will allow each unit to use all the inputs from the other. In Dante controller, close any device view windows and on the Routing tab, expand the Transmit and Receive sections for both devices. Now, it's just a case of routing the outputs of one unit to the inputs of the other. And we are nearly done. Back in DNet, each unit will now be able to access the inputs from the other unit, using the network inputs matrix, mixed to any output, and you now have a 16 by 16 matrix. For example, on the first unit, we can now assign the evacuation announcement to all outputs except the subs, the Bluetooth adapters for the respective VIP areas, the stereo guest input to both VIP areas, and the Sport TV cable box audio just to the bar. And there we have it. The inputs that have been streamed are also available to any other units on the network, and it's simple to add more VMXs to expand the system further. Thanks for watching.